Welcome everyone, I'm Ted Earhart. One area of retirement planning that I find particularly interesting is Social Security strategy. With married couples in particular, there's a lot of considerations when it comes to the coordination and timing of Social Security benefits. Therefore, it's easy to make mistakes or overlook opportunities. Today, I want to focus in on what I think, or at least I observe, as the most common mistake or missed opportunity that I see married breadwinners in particular make as it relates to Social Security elections. So let's get into it. Now, one thing I've learned by working with real people is there's a lot of psychology that goes into how people decide when they should start drawing Social Security. So for example, even the phrase full retirement age, which is 66 to 67, depending on when you were born, this implicitly sends the message that it must be time to start drawing benefits. So regularly, I'll see people start drawing even when they don't need the money. They might still be working for that matter. And likewise, in a similar situation, I'll see people that are able to retire at 62 and, even though they don't need to start drawing benefits, they don't need the income, they do anyway. And I've asked folks in both of these types of scenarios, why did you start drawing Social Security? And typically the answer is a shoulder shrug, like, I don't know, I just thought I was supposed to. So this brings us to the title of our discussion here. The biggest mistake or missed opportunity, maybe another way to put it, that I see higher earning spouses make when it comes to Social Security is not deferring benefits as long as possible. So why is this a potential mistake or missed opportunity? Well, number one, deferring Social Security is actually a pretty good deal when you actually do the math. I'm working on a separate video that addresses the break-even analysis that goes along with this discussion. But generally speaking, if you defer out until age 70 to capture the maximum benefit, as long as you make it into your 80s and beyond, deferring looks very good on paper. It can result in tens of thousands of extra dollars out of the system. And I'm just regularly surprised to see people, especially those that are still working beyond their full retirement age, start drawing Social Security when they don't even need it. They're really missing out on a potential opportunity to capture those generous deferral credits and maximize their Social Security benefits. Now, number two, and I think this is even more important than number one, survivor benefits. This is especially critical when you have a classic scenario where there's a married couple and the husband, worked his entire career while the wife spent at least part of her time at home raising kids. In these situations, obviously the husband's going to have a much larger Social Security benefit. The wife will be entitled to either half of her husband's Social Security benefit or her own, assuming she has some Social Security credits. So the real question is, however, what happens when the husband dies? And the answer in this kind of classic situation is the wife's Social Security benefit is going to stop and go away, and she will begin collecting her husband's as a survivor benefit. So for this reason, when we think about Social Security strategy, we generally always want to maximize the larger of the two benefits because that is the one that is going to survive over the lifetime of both spouses. Now finally, let me just hit on one thing that I get some pushback on occasionally having these discussions, or maybe it's a misconception, is the question is, well, what if I'm not healthy? Don't I want to draw Social Security as early as possible? Because, isn't the break-even period, 14 to 16 years, depending on the assumption you use? Well, my answer is you have to think about your spouse, assuming you're married, obviously. If your spouse is relatively healthy, again, we're probably going to still want to maximize the larger of the two benefits. So if that's you and you're unhealthy, the answer is going to be yes, we want to defer. For example, I have some clients right now that are about 10 years apart in age. The husband recently turned 70, the wife is 60. And the husband does have some significant health issues. But, the wife has a limited work history. So anyway, we went through the retirement planning process, and Social Security strategy is a big part of that, of course. My ultimate suggestion to them was the husband needed to defer out till 70. Because even if he expects to be short-lived, his wife is ultimately going to take over his benefit, which will be substantially larger than what she is eligible for. So by maximizing his own benefit, he's ultimately going to be not only potentially getting more benefits out of the system if he lives longer than he expects, but he's ultimately also going to be protecting his wife. Now, I know I'm kind of at risk of overgeneralizing here, but again, in the situation where one spouse has a significantly higher Social Security benefit, the biggest mistake I see people make is not deferring that out until age 70 when it's financially viable to do so. Now, obviously, there's plenty of people that simply can't afford to do this. They can't afford to wait that long. But I see situations all the time where a couple has the means to defer because they've been great savers, or in some cases they're still working. A lot of white collar workers, they can continue doing their jobs if they like them because it's not hard on their body. If you're in one of those types of situations, chances are really good that deferring is going to be a great strategy to not only maximize the total Social Security benefits you're going to get out of the system, but also to protect a surviving spouse. But look, obviously, every situation is unique. If there's a big age difference between spouses, that can play into this. Health considerations are obviously also out there. So look, talk with somebody, work with a professional to help you make the best decision for your circumstances. So I hope this was helpful today. Again, Social Security, it's a topic that I not only find interesting, but I really focus on this professionally working with our core clients, those being generally people over 55 looking for a retirement strategy. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to reach out. That's what we're here to do. Happy to have a conversation with you. And look, consider subscribing to the YouTube channel or giving us a like on Facebook, depending on where you're watching that, if you want to see more discussions like this. Thanks for watching. I hope we'll see you on the next one.